My fellow Americans, I am about to sign into law.
What's your name? I am the great. You talk too much. Love me tender.
You don't have Nixon to kick around anymore.
Gonna find her. Gonna find her.
Frankie, how long have you been in California? Now, you're not going to believe this, Dick, but I've been here exactly 17 years.
Do you ever think about those good old days in Philadelphia?
Sure, well, not right now, but,
I'd be thinking about it. Hey, you know what? As great as California is, there's something that California doesn't have that Philadelphia does have.
What's that?
Us! Dick, how'd you do that?
I thought you did it.
Dick, I never realized how much I miss Philadelphia, but like the old saying, there's no place like home.
You know, whenever I think about the good old days, Frank, I think of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Ed McMahon lived next door to me. Joey Bishop lived 4 blocks over there.
And Fabian worked in a drugstore right around the corner. Chubby Checker worked in a chicken store. Wait a minute. Oh! Yeah.
Mr. Singer?
Hey, Bob.
How are you? Dick, how are you? Where you been?
Well, you know, I've been around.
Oh, if you'd stayed here, you'd have been a success.
Go on, hey, are you ready for the big party, the good old days in the back
I
room?
got the whole room fixed up, Dick.
Pop, do you think maybe we can decorate it a little bit?
Well, how about a few balloons?
Good. Hey, guys, bring it in. Come on.
Alice! Dick, you said only a few people.
We got a lot of friends, Si. They all want to come. Come on.
Come on, Pop.
Here they come. From all over the world. Here they come. From all over the world. You know the guitar's grooving, so keep it moving. And come on, come on, come on. They're coming home.
Welcome to Dick Clark's Good Old Days Part 2 with your host, Frankie Avalon. And Annette Funicello. And starring Shelley Berman, Teresa Brewer, Wilt Chamberlain, Chubby Checker, Dave Clark, Bill Dana, Bob Denver, Fabian, the 4 Aces, Bill Hayes, Jan and Dean, James Comack, Brenda Lee, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Anthony, Ed McMahon, Vaughn Meter, Domenico Modugno, Hattie Page, Patience and Prudence, Roger Price, Paul Revere and the Raiders, Bobby Rydell, Dee Dee Sharp, Bobby V, and Joey Bishop as Roastmaster. Special appearances and historic tape performances of Steve Alamo, Keith Allison, The Beatles, The Big Bopper, The Brothers Four, Godfrey Cambridge, Petula Clark, Eddie Cochran, Sam Cooke, Bobby Darin, Donovan, The 4 Esquires, The 4 Lads, The 4 Preps, The 4 Seasons, The 4 Tops, Freddie and the Dreamers, Jerry and the Pacemakers, George Goebel, Buddy Hackett, Herman's Hermits, Buddy Holly, Johnny Horton, The Imperials, Milt Kamen, The Kinks, The Kirby Stone 4, Frankie Lyman, Jackie Mason, Clyde McFadder, The Moody Blues, Morton Alice, James E. Myers, Bob Newhart, Elaine Orlando, Elvis Presley, Quaker City String Band, Otis Redding, The Rolling Stones, Pop Singer, The Smothers Brothers, Sonny and Cher, Richie Valens, Gene Vincent, and The Who. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Clark.
Welcome to the Good Old Days, part number 2. You know, of course, that we're at NBC Hollywood. We couldn't possibly get in Pop Singer's back room. Pop Singer's back room is about as big as he is. We've got a good group of people together. I've got memories for you, baby pictures of a lot of you folks in this audience. We'll have fun and memories together. Let me introduce you to my 2 co-hosts. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frankie Avalon. and Miss Annette Funicello.
Nice, Annette. That's very nice. What an applause. See that? People still seem to like it, sir.
Well, if I were they, I wouldn't applaud. You know, the years have taken their toll. How old are you now, Frankie?
Well, I'm in my late 20s.
How old exactly?
38. Listen, how old are you?
That's not important. What I don't understand is how we've both gotten older than Dick Clark.
All right. Hey, in the good old days, this is the way we introduced one of America's greatest performers.
Okay, here's a man whose records have sold over 2 million copies, who plays to standing room only all over the country, who just flew in from Nashville, Tennessee to be with us tonight. His name is Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Seems like only yesterday. It isn't Elaine Berman.
No, not anymore.
Did you get married?
Yes, I did.
Who'd you marry? What'd you do?
He sings.
What's his name?
Tony Orlando.
Elaine Orlando. And we're meeting. Who would ever predict that we would meet like this? Now, after 20 years, what have you got to say for yourself?
Well, here's a man whose records have sold over 200 million copies, and he plays to standing room only all over the country. He just flew in from Nashville, Tennessee to be with us tonight, and his name is Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Everybody was drinking wine, drinking at the best of pure delight. And when they get drunk, they start to singing all night, drinking wine, sporty-hooty, drinking wine. Wine, sporty-hooty, drinking wine. Give me a drink, pass that bottle to me. I got a nickel, and you got a dime. Let's get together, honey, and buy some wine. Buy it by the gallon and buy it by the quart. Buy it blackberry, while you doing things, smart drinking wine.
In all fairness, hear this. I give it a 99. I like the beat. Okay.
Now, do you realize...
Just a moment. Wait a separate sex, please. What? I realize
Do
what?
you realize that all of us at this table used to either work or live in Philly? All of us.
Yes.
I mean, guys are Fabian, Philadelphia, Bobby Rydell, Joey Bishop, Dee Sharp, and, of course, Jim Myers. This is the man who wrote Rock Around the Clock.
funny part about it, they didn't know what to call that type of music when it first recorded it, so they called it a foxtrot.
Well, I gotta tell you, at least none of us have really changed since high school, and I got the proof right here. I want to show you this.
Oh,
here,
gosh,
will you see this?
don't do it.
No, I've got to do it.
Do it, Barry.
Let him do it.
Here.
Oh, here it is. Here's a picture of Fabian. Here's a picture of Dee Dee Sharp. Where's Bobby Rydell's picture?
Here's a picture of Bobby Rydell, remember?
Italian singers from Philadelphia, but Volare was imported from Rome. It was the #1 song in America in 1958, and the man who brought it here was Domenico Modugno.
Volare, oh, cantare, oh.
You know, Volare, 22 millions of record, I think is a big hit. And after I work in Italy in television show, in theater, and always so. And now I hope to come back in America to say hello a tutti gli americani, a tutto il popolo italo-americano, soprattutto now I speak Italian for the Italian people. Insomma, spero di vedervi tutti a tutti quanti presto e di abbracciarvi. Now it's very hot and I go in the sea. Ciao, goodbye, ciao!
You know, during the good old days, we imported more than music. I mean, from Japan, we were transistorized. From Germany, we were motorized. And from foreign movies, we were monsterized.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash.
The monster mash.
It was a graveyard smash.
They did the mash.
It caught on flash.
They did the mash.
It's now the monster mash.
The monster mash.
And it's a graveyard smash.
Now the mash.
It's caught on in a flash.
It's now the mash.
It's now the monster mash. Now everything's cool. Drax a part of the band, and my monster mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get Margot, tell them Boris sent you.
Then you can mash.
Then you can monster my graveyard smash. You'll catch on in a flash. Then you can monster mash. Mash. Easy, boy, you impetuous young boy. Mash good.
Next, the good old days look back at the four aces, Little Anthony and the British Invasion, from the Beatles to the Rolling Stones.
Remember waiting for the #1 song on your hit parade? And look at this group. You weren't even born at that time. This is our version of your hit parade.
Now it's time for our hit parade. It's back to the beach as Frankie and Ned take a musical journey down memory lane. 1956.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't ever caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine.
1959.
'Cause you've got personality walk, personality talk, personality smile, personality charm, personality love, personality. Of course, you got a great big heart.
1960.
It was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini that she wore for the first time today. An itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini, so in the water she wanted to stay. Dum doody doo dum.
1962.
Dum doody doo dum dum. Don't take your love away from me.
And don't you leave my heart in misery.
If you go, then I'll be through. 'Cause breaking up is hard too.
1963.
I'm leaving it all up to you. You decide what you're gonna do. Now, do you want my love? Or are we?
1957.
There goes my baby with someone new. She sure looks happy, I sure am blue. Bye-bye love, bye-bye happiness, hello loneliness, think I'm gonna cry, bye-bye my love, goodbye.
1964, the Beatles bring a new sound in music.
Oh, you got that something, I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand.
Oh, wow. Isn't it great? Oh, you know, there's something about those people. When two people get together and click, it creates sort of a magic feeling, a special feeling. Those are my friends Frankie and Annette. Now, it's happened in the past. There are some other famous ones who got together and became famous twos. Look at this.
I got flowers in the spring. I got to wear my ring. And when I'm sad, you're a clown. And if I get scared, you're always around. So let them say your hair's too long, 'cause I don't care
time around, they were Caesar and Cleo, then to become Sonny and Cher. I have another duet for you. They were very famous back in the 50s. They had a couple of big hit songs. Tonight, You Belong to Me. And Gonna Get Along Without You Now. Their last name is McIntyre. You know them as Patience and Truthiness.
Well, I'd say this. Making two-hit records really didn't mean much to us because we didn't work for it. We didn't want to be performers. And it's like anything else in life. If you work hard for it, then it's an achievement. But it was just an accident. And it's almost like a dream now.
Patience was a marketing executive, and now she's writing a biography.
Prue married a great guy who's a cinematographer, but he was a recording artist, too. He was with the Standells in the 60s, and they live here in Hollywood.
Probably one of the very few people in this world that has a gold record that's a 78.
These next gentlemen have 2 times as much to offer as any duet, mainly because there's twice as many of them. 4 gentlemen whose unique sounds set a precedent in the 50s for all male singing groups that followed. From their hometown of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the 4 Aces.
A faithless lover's kiss is written on the wind, a night of stolen bliss is written on the wind. Though you are gone from me, we never can really be apart. What's written on the wind is written in my heart. 3 coins in the fountain, each heart longing for its home. There they lie in the fountain, somewhere in the heart of Rome. On a high and windy hill, in the morning mist, 2 lovers kissed, and the world stood still. Then your fingers touched my silent heart and taught it how to sing. Yes, true love of many splendid
How many of these famous 4s do you remember?
Hear how they ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-bobbles, banging, bright shiny bees. The cat they see with a curve, the lover with the voice in the mockingbird, the song was funky like Wayhead. I was down by the mockingbird. Love me forever. Take me your own. Once there were green trees, kissed by the sun.
if fours were good, then fives had to be even better. This is Little Anthony and the Imperials back in the good old days. You love that choreography, isn't that great? Oh, they don't do it like that anymore. Now, in the 70s, the five became two. The Imperials, they went off by themselves, and my friend Little Anthony is a big one. Little Anthony, ladies and gentlemen.
Just walk past me, you don't even know that I exist. Going out of my head, only you, out of my head, only you, out of my head, day and night, oh, come on,
Little Anthony. Now, the number 5 also meant the emergence of a British group, the Dave Clark Five. Now, tell the truth, does that seem like only yesterday?
It's like an eternity ago, a lifetime.
Now, you must admit, you'd much rather be in the studio with the hot lights than living in this terrible squalor you're in now.
No, this is the life in this fantastic California sunshine.
How was the Dave Clark Five born?
Well, we started off as a soccer team for a youth club football team, and we're invited to play a Dutch team at football. And we formed the group to get the funds to go over. And when we went over to Holland, and we won the match 3-2. And when we came back, we were going to disband. But before I went, I had some cards printed offering our services. And I got a letter from Buckingham Palace asking us to play at Star 4. And I thought it was a joke. But a few days later, a footman came round. And so we did the job, and we went up to the palace. And I remember we had no money, so we went up on the subway. And we got out of the palace just round the corner and got a cab to go through the gates.
What was the English ingredient that made it successful all over the world?
I think it was very basic, and it was a sort of self-expression. It was very working-class roots. And I think at that stage we'd gone through rock and roll, where the sort of image was created, and this was really the heart of rock and roll.
Well, they call it an invasion. Did you guys invade us first, or was it the Beatles?
No, we were the first English group to tour America.
Followed by?
Followed by the Beatles, of course, yeah.
Dan and Dean, Bobby V, Teresa Brewer, and Bill Dana next on The Good Old Days.
In 1957, Sputnik, the Russian satellite, orbited the Earth, and the race for space was on.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
America would meet John Kennedy's outer space challenge. These are the original 7 astronauts. You know, at one time we knew them all by their first names. Can you remember any of them?
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on
The original astronauts. How many did you remember?
We're very fortunate tonight to have with us a member of NASA's famous astronaut team. What is your name, sir?
My name, Jose Jimenez.
And where are you from, sir?
I'm from Vermont.
Vermont?
Vermont, you know, like moonlight in Vermont. New Hampshire, Maine.
I understand that since you've retired from being an astronaut, you own a ranch?
Yes, I own a ranch.
What is the name of your ranch?
The name of my ranch is the Bar 9, Circle Z, Rocking O, Flying W, Lazy R, Crazy 2, Happy 9, Bar 17, Parallelogram 4, Octagon 7, Happy 12, Ranch O.
Do you have any cattle?
Excuse me?
Do you have any cattle?
No, not many survived the branding. You talk about screaming cows. That was one heck of a barbecue. 12 acres of flaming flanken out there, as far as the eye could see, broiling breast.
No, in conclusion, sir, where would you say that you rank amongst the great adventurers in space?
Where I rank among the great adventurers in space? I would say I'm number 3. I'm number 3.
Number 3. Who was ahead of you?
Well, ahead of me would be George Washington and Benjamin Franklin.
No. Excuse me, Mr. Jimenez. Mr. Washington, Mr. Franklin were not adventurers in space.
I'm number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Dana.
Isn't this a great party?
It's terrific. You know what makes it more terrific?
What?
We're not at the beach anymore. I love our new image.
Oh, me too. You see, when people think of Frankie and Annette, you know, they always think of us at the beach all the time. But I'll tell you, you know, it's refreshing to know that we're not fit in that same old stereotype.
Well, so much for our new image.
Yeah, well, don't knock it, Annette. We had a lot of fun right here on the beaches of California.
Right. As a matter of fact, California had a lot of influence on a lot of people. It really influenced the whole country. We had something that no one else had.
Bakersfield?
No. Surfing.
That'll take you. How long ago was that?
That was more than 12 years.
Oh. Remember where it was?
Give or take. Santa Monica.
How many people were there?
Oh, there was about 6,000 something.
I mean, there's millions all over the world.
No, easily.
What was it about California that had such an influence on everybody?
Well, I think, of course, it had a lot to do with the California weather, as you can see. And it's just the whole kind of California consciousness that people in California live a different way. What we did was just kind of take music and translate what we were doing every day into music.
You know, that was a very intelligent statement you made.
I'm surprised.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm shocked.
In 1959, Buddy Holly died in the crash of a light plane while on his way to a performance in Fargo, North Dakota. A call went out over the local radio station for a band to come in and try to fill Buddy Holly's spot at the concert. The band selected was The Shadows, and the lead singer at the time was a kid named Robert Thomas Valine. The rest is musical history. Bobby V.
Devil or angel, I can't make up my mind which one you are. I have to wake up and find. Devil or angel, do whichever you are. I miss you, I miss you, I miss you. Ah, take good care of my baby. Now don't you ever make her cry. Just let your love surround her. Ain't a rainbow all around her. Don't let her see cloudy skies. Oh, take good care of my baby. Be just as kind as you can be. And if you should discover that you don't really love her, just send my baby back home to me. They say that you're a runaround lover, though you say it isn't so. Ah, but if you put me down for another, I'll know, believe me, I'll know. 'Cause the night has a thousand eyes, and a thousand eyes can't help but see you. So remember when you tell those little white lies that the night has a thousand eyes.
Sitting with me now is a lady whose popularity has endured from the good old days because she and her sound have changed with the times. I'm talking about the very lovely and talented Miss Teresa Brewer. Welcome. Teresa, I just want you to relax a little bit now, just kind of open up your ears, and I want you to hear something.
Thank you, Ted Mack, and good evening, friends. We spin our weekly Wheel of Fortune. Around, around she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. Teresa Brewer. Teresa's as big as a minute and moves as fast as the next minute. How old are you, Teresa?
7 years old, Major Bo, and these big buildings in New York are sure pretty. And when I grow up, I want to be Miss America.
Well,
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Teresa Brewer.
Till I was again with you, let no other hold your charm. If my dreams should all come true, you'll be waiting for my arm. Till I was again with you, just the way we are tonight, I will keep my promise true. For you are my guiding light. when I saw you in the arms of someone new. A tear fell when you left me all alone and feeling blue. A tear fell when you told me that your love was not for me. Oh, I didn't miss the teardrops, but I missed you constantly. A fool am I. A fool am I in love. Wouldn't anybody like to meet a sweet old-fashioned girl? That's down. Wouldn't anybody like to meet a sweet old-fashioned girl? That's doobly-doo-be-dum. Who's a frantic little bopper in some sloppy top? Just a crazy rock and rollin' little Goldilocks. Wouldn't anybody like to meet a sweet old-fashioned girl? Who's a frantic little bopper in some sloppy top? Just a crazy rock and rollin' little Goldilocks. Wouldn't anybody like to meet a sweet old-fashioned doobly-dooby-dooby-dooby-doo?
Miss Teresa Brewer. Now, let me introduce you to a couple of people on my left here. This is Doug Williams and Julie Williams from the Days of Our Lives, better known as Bill Hayes and Susan Seaforth Hayes.
Consider the circumstances. Right from the top, right straight through, because you and Robert are making a nervous wreck out of Teresa.
Yeah. 1955. Can we get to that?
Yes, you just jumped right into it. You blew your mind completely.
Blew my mind completely. 1955. You know what you did in 1955?
I want to forget all about it at this point.
WFIL-TV, Philadelphia, you presented me with this, old buddy. This, it says right here. It says
He
right
carries it with him wherever he goes.
Right in my pocket here, excuse me. It says, honoring Bill Hayes for Davy Crockett. Most popular record, 1955. Hey-o!
Davy Crockett, the king of the wild frontier.
The comics are coming. Newhart's, Mothers Brothers, Goebel, Hackett, Shelley, Berman, and more. Next on The Good Old Days.
Can you believe that 20 years from now, you'll be sentimental over the commercials you just saw? It's true. If you want to feel, older, 14 years have passed since you saw this commercial. I still can't figure out how they got that Chevy up there. It's a good thing I was too young to drive because they can't blame it on me. Here are a few famous products from the good old days. You'll be surprised how long it's been since you've seen these commercials.
Leonard, put you in the driver's seat. From the land of sky blue water, from the land of pines, lofty balsams, comes the beer refreshing, hands of beer refreshing.
Two-way Jacks, laundry detergent, it's stronger than dirt.
So down, 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 the stomach's through. Round, 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 the system too. With Alka-Seltzer, you'll always say, relief is just a swallow away.
You'll wonder where the yellow went when you brush your teeth with Pepsodent. Take TNC. Bigger USA in your Chevrolet.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely fantastic. Tell me, Joe, once comedians started using their brains on stage, I mean, being smart and all that stuff, what did you do for a living?
If you were anywhere else but from South Philadelphia, I would squeeze your hair into an oil can and lubricate my car.
In the late 50s, There was a new breed of stand-up comic who came to television from the intimate clubs and the coffee houses, and a lot of them ended up with their own shows.
Usually 2 or 3 times during the year, I've noticed your local newspapers will run an expose on a nudist camp. They'll send a reporter and a photographer out to cover it, and then we all buy the newspaper, and we try to spot our friends, you know, and they have... they have black bars drawn over their eyes, but you said, that's Fred. I know that's Fred.
You want to quack? Start quacking right now. I said quack. Start quacking. Now. Quack, quack, quack. A little louder. Quack, 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 quack.
Quack, 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 quack.
That's a father duck.
Quack, 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 quack.
Quack. Got them all finished.
But real Jewish cooking is made vindictively by a Jewish mother who has your interest at heart. You know, eat, you know, like, this is how I got this way. Eh? Well, I mean, like, my mother used to make dishes that just destroy you, you know. Like, for instance, I was 18 years old, I went in the Army, right? And all my life I'd had heartburn, but I didn't know that I had heartburn. I thought everybody got. I thought you're supposed to have that. So I was in the Army about 3 weeks, and the fire went out, you know. And I honestly thought I was dying, you know.
Oh, I know. I was telling you about the simplicity and the ease of operation with my television set. Now any 3-and-a-half, 4-year-old child with any practical and theoretic knowledge of physics or electronics can operate this because it's only got 4 controls. That's what makes... Of course, each control has got 4 controls, but...
We now have a product for bachelors. It's a supermarket. It's called frozen garbage. There's no defrosting. You just throw it out. Instant garbage. But they have different kinds. They have, like, cheap garbage, like sardine cans, you know, and coffee grounds. You can buy this, nothing. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But then they have very expensive garbage, like lobster shells and champagne bottles empty. And that's what I buy. I buy that kind of garbage, the most expensive garbage, and I put that out after breakfast.
And if you wasted a whole night with me and you just remember this, it'll live with you as long as you live. He said, never guard your money. Guard your health. So one day, while I was guarding my health, somebody stole my money. I found out later that it was my grandfather. That's how I made a living. That's why I say, never guard your health, guard your grandfather.
Her life is on a back to your roots kick. You know, she's got her hair cut in the natural style now, very close. You know, she doesn't press her hair anymore. And she looks a lot like Jomo Kenyatta. And the whole apartment is done in African motif. We got more African art in our apartment than Kwame Nkrumah. We got ivory tusk hassocks and ivory tusk couch. You try sitting on one of those, yeah. And then she's done the bedroom in brown. The whole thing, the drapes, the ceiling, the carpet, the spread, the pillow. One day she took a bath and came into the room. It took me 3 hours to find her.
Now, my dear Mr. Avalon, here's a stand-up comic that made a career out of sitting down. Still one of the best comedians to emerge from the good old days, Mr. Shelley Berman.
Hello. Only I have changed. After all, in 20 years, a man does change, doesn't he? I'm no longer the kind of comedian you think of me. Oh, incidentally, for those of you in the audience who have never seen me before and are wondering what I am doing at this very moment, I will explain. There's a peanut butter jar lying on its side. I'm cleaning it.
Lately, Doctor, a new problem has been cropping up, Doctor, and I want to talk to you about it. Lately, I have been getting terribly, what's that word when you can't remember things? Forgetful. Yes, lately I've been getting terribly forgetful. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you. I can't seem to remember anything for any length of time at all. I just don't know what it is. How long has what been going on? Forgetful.
forgetfulness. Isn't that funny? I wanted to talk to you about that. Yes, lately I've been getting terribly, unrememberful is what it is. Yeah, I just don't know what it is, miss. Sir. Huh?
Let me tell you about the new thing. Something I couldn't have talked about many years ago. And that is that on the planes today, if you fly on a long flight, you get to see a movie sometimes. You may get to see a film, and they give you that thing for listening. It goes in your, there's a wire in your ears, and it looks like an enema gone wrong. And every plane has a different place that you stick the other end, you know. If you're not terribly careful, you can violate the person next to you something awful. Then you put the thing on, and then the film comes on, the movie comes on, and the sound is not to be believed. The guy takes a girl in his arms, he says, so you call over the stewardess. She says, what's the trouble? The hell with it, I don't care.
Jelly Berman, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James Comack. Hey, hey! Got a familiar face? If not, it should be certainly a very familiar name, because this gentleman is the creator and producer of so many shows that so many Americans have watched. For instance, Welcome Back, Kotter, Chico and the Man, The Courtship of Eddie Spargo. Now, what are you applauding yourself for now?
I like the show.
Humility. I mean, this is a silly question. You always haven't been a successful television producer.
No. In the early days, I did other things, you know.
Like?
I was a nightclub comic. I worked Mr. Kelly's in Chicago.
It's closed.
I worked the Blue Angel in New York.
I haven't had acts there in years, Jimmy.
Right here in town, I worked Ciro's.
It's a parking lot.
I do impressions. You know the kid on the cover of Mad Magazine?
With the ears?
With the ears,
Yeah.
Alfred E. Newman?
Uh-huh.
I used to look like him.
When your luck is batting 0, get your chin up off the floor. Mister, you can be a hero. You can open any door. There's nothing to it but to do it. You gotta have heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. Oh, it's fine to be a genius, of course, but keep that old horse before the car. First, you gotta have heart.
What a... Next, Chubby Checker, Roger Price, and Patty Page look at the good old days.
Do you know what this is? It's a ship arriving too late to save a drowning witch. It's called a droodle. And this is the creator of droodles, Roger Price. How did the idea for droodles come about, Roger?
Well, actually, they're little droodles, they're little drawings that look like nothing until you know the correct title. And I made them up because I thought that America needed some new way to waste time.
Well, I know that nowadays you're doing a lot of writing and you own your own publishing company, but in the good old days, you were America's guessing game champ.
This might be titled An Elephant Giving an Ant a Friendly Pat on the Back. But the real official title of this
is a raisin making an acceptance speech at a raisin convention.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Roger Price.
Here's another one that does have a little more philosophical content to it. This will be clear, I think, when you know the title. This one is called a stubborn worm crawling over a razor blade. But some of these are sort of ethnic. Now, here's one that people wouldn't understand unless they have spent some time, I think, on a farm or in an agricultural area. This is called A Cow on a Cold Morning. Now, this is an interesting one. This could be, say, a grapefruit with a bomb sight for aiming squirts, or it could be a cowardly tennis racket with no guts. That's not right. That's not the correct title. The correct title is A Sassy Olive Sticking Out Its Pimento.
Thank you, Roger, very much. You know, droodles were sort of a unique form of American graffiti, but to the people of the 70s, American graffiti means the 50s. Many of those unknown actors in that cast went on to become major stars. For instance, Ronnie Howard. Now, this is how he really looked back in the good old days. This is Cindy Williams in American Graffiti. And this, of course, is Cindy Williams back then. The mystery lady in the white T-bird. This is how she really looked in the good old days. Her name back then was Suzanne Mahoney. Today, of course, we know her better as Chrissy and Three's Company, Miss Suzanne Summers. The action in American Graffiti centered around a local drive-in restaurant. I guess that's because in the good old days, that's where the action was.
He went away, and you hung around and bothered me every night. And I wouldn't go out with you. You said things that weren't very nice.
My boyfriend's back, and you're gonna be in trouble. See him coming, better cut out on the double. You've been spreading lies that I was untrue. So look out now, 'cause he's coming after you. Hey, he knows that you've been trying, and he knows that you've been lying. He's been gone for such a long time. But now he's back, and things will be fine. Hey, he knows I wasn't cheating. Now you're gonna get a beating. What made you think he'd believe all your lies? You're a big man now, but he'll cut you down to size. Wait and see. Wait and see. My boyfriend's back, he's gonna save my reputation. My boyfriend's back. Hey, my boyfriend's back. Hey, my boyfriend's back. Hey, my boyfriend's back.
I gotta say, that really takes me back to the good old days, but so does this. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say the twist?
It's party time! Get up! Hey now, everybody, in the Union Hall. Oh, that shine, can you hear this call? Get with it, don't quit it. Get up! I do the porter with the partner. I do the big boss line. Any way you do it, you're gonna look real fine. I get with it, I don't quit it. I get up. Come on, to the fly with me. Come on, everybody, to the fly with me. They call us the Earl Flynn. But if you don't know how to do it, you just watch and see. try. All the girls and guys are getting the wise. We're gonna fly. Come on and do the trick. Come on, baby, let's do the trick. Take it by my little hand. Go like this. Come on and twist. Yeah, baby, twist. Ooh, yeah. Just like this. Come on, little, and do the twist.
Our next guest became one of the most sophisticated singers of songs in the history of show business. She sold over 70 million records. Now, if that sounds like a fantasy, it is not. It really happened.
This is my song. This is my melody. This is my song. The very soul of me.
Oh, lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, please, my friend Miss Patti Page. Yay, yay. I have wanted to ask you ever since I've known you for years, how much is that doggy in the window?
No. Well, let's see. How much do several million records cost?
Get out of here. One thing for sure, as a fan of music, I love saying the words I'm about to say. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Patti Page.
Allegheny moon, I need your light to help me find romance tonight. So shine, shine, shine on tonight. Allegheny moon, yourself a beam can lead the way to golden dreams. So shine, shine, please shine, shine. High among the stars, so bright above, the magic of your lamp of love can make him mine. Allegheny moon, it's up to you. Please see what you can do for me and for my one and only love. If you're fond of sand dunes and salty air, quaint little villages here and there, you're sure to fall in love with old Cape Cod. If you spend an evening you want to stay, watching the moonlight on Cape Cod Bay, you're sure to fall in love with old Cape Cod.
You believe you were ever that young? You haven't changed much. How about records?
I'm currently doing an album with Rick Danko with the band, and within the last year I did a
the Ringo Starr special, which I supervised the music for him, and everything has been fantastic.
Brenda Lee, Will Chamberlain, Bob Denver, and Paul Revere reunites as Raiders as the good old days continues.
With a music bonus from the Columbia Record and Tape Club. Now, let me set the mood. This is yesterday and today, and I want to ask you a favor. If you will just for a second, see if you can be as quiet as you can be. Here is Frankie Avalon.
I'll never let you go. Why? Because I love you. I'll always love you so. Why? Because you love me. No broken hearts for us, 'cause we love each other. And with our faith and trust, there could be no weather. Why? 'Cause I love you. Why? 'Cause you love me. I think you're awfully sweet. Why? Because I love you. You say I'm your special treat. Why? Because you love me. You love me. We found the perfect love. Yes, a love that's yours and mine. Oh, I love you and you love me. I'll love you and you'll love me. We'll love each other, dear, forever and ever.
You know, one thing never changes, schoolyards. A lot of famous athletes have played on schoolyards like this in the past, and I guess a lot of famous athletes of the future playing at places like this today. Can I borrow your ball a second? Here, watch an expert here. Oh, what, do you think he knew better?
Oh, I don't know, but maybe I can if I get lucky.
Now, if there's anybody in the world that doesn't know this man, this is Will Chamberlain. This is a man who's scored more than 30,000 points in his professional basketball career and made a good deal more than 20,000 rebounds.
Career started in a schoolyard, something like this, back in Philadelphia.
There are no schoolyards that look like this back in the old neighborhood.
Yeah, but basketball's been good to me, Dick. I don't know where else a 7-footer who dunks the ball can make such a good living, huh?
You had to do that to me. You had to show me up. What are you up to these days?
I'm president of the IVA, which is a professional volleyball league, which is a co-ed league that has 2 women on the court at all times.
Does this song sound familiar?
Oh, yeah, Sweet Georgia Brown sure does. I spent my first year of professional basketball before the NBA with the Globetrotters. Then I taught for 16 summers with them, Dick.
One more time.
Okay.
Hey-oh, Will Chamberlain.
Do you remember beatniks? The most popular beatnik in America was like Maynard G. Krebs of Dobie Gillis. He's Bob Denver back at a coffee house with a new poem.
The sky is blue, but it isn't sad. The grass is green, but it isn't bad. The sun is yellow, but it's not a coward. My nephew's short, but his name's not Howard.
Like no, Daddy-o.
Like what, Riff?
Like don't come in the store.
Like why?
Maynard, I sell like new records. But when you two playing them records like 200-300 times, man, I'm like in the second-hand business. I hate to lower the boom on you, Dad, but it's a definite split. I mean, don't come back no more.
That's like rough, Riff.
I had a dog who played second trumpet for Harry James. The truth is often surprising. I hear the moon is rising, the good old days for sure. Because we were younger then, and coffee cost like about half of what it costs now, and like the, a head of cabbage, man, you can hardly believe it, man. Like,
I shift my course along the breeze.
This singer now has his own multi-million-dollar recording company. Steve Alaimo.
The funny thing is people talk, every time they talk about that old show, what they talk about is that we were always on a beach. And I don't think we did that many beach shows.
We ran out of beaches.
I remember you were on the beach. And
What are
were
you
singing
doing
on the
now?
beach. I'm making records. See, I could never make a hit record.
Millions and millions
But
of
I
records.
couldn't do that for myself, see? So I decided I'd do it for other people, and I'm doing well at it.
During the good old days, groups and male singers sold most of the records, but for some reason, there were only just a handful of girl singers.
Well, girls were buying all the records, Frankie. I mean, they were more interested in cute boys than girls. All right.
Yeah, but here's one cute girl whose records I bought, and so did millions of other people just like me. A little lady who's still big, Miss Brenda Lee.
I'm sorry, so sorry that I was such a fool. I didn't know love would be so cruel. I'm sorry. So sorry. Please accept my apology. But love was blind, and I was blind to see. My baby whispers in my ear. Sweet nothing. He knows the things I like to hear. Sweet nothing. Didn't it take the time to read my book? My baby, give me that special look. Sweet nothing. Sweet nothing. Sweet nothing. Alone, so alone that I could cry. I wanna be wanted. Alone, watching lovers passing by. I wanna be wanted. I want someone to share my laughter and my tears with. Someone I know I'd love to spend 1,000,000 years with. Where is this someone somewhere meant for
What a dynamite lady, Miss Brenda Lee. Let me talk to you a little bit about a fellow who made history during the good old days. He had an album that sold 300,000 copies the very first week it was released, and it eventually went on to sell 3.5 million copies in the first 6 weeks. He sort of created an international controversy because he and his group satirized the First Family. Now, he used to look like this, and he satirized President John F. Kennedy. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vaughn Meader. Good days.
You know, I really love the wit of John Kennedy, and after watching him in his press conference, well, we just decided to make a comedy album about him.
He did conduct terrific, memorable news conferences. What?
Mr. President, what have you done for the women according to the promises of the platform?
Well, I'm sure we haven't done enough, and, I must say I am a strong believer in equal pay for equal work, and I think that we ought to do better than we're doing, and I'm glad that you reminded me of it.
It's a great sense of humor. You know, that the controversy that you caused, I'm sure, had an awful lot of people feeling that was very irreverent to make fun of the President of the United States.
Well, that's true, Dick, but many people did support us. Margaret Mead said it was the sign of a healthy democracy.
How do you think that President Kennedy felt about it himself?
Well, we wondered about that, but I was thrilled one time when he actually mentioned on his press conference that he liked it.
Can you tell us whether you read and listen to these things and whether they produce annoyment or enjoyment?
Annoyment. No, they do. Yes, I have read them and listened to them. Actually, I listened to Mr. Meader's record, but I thought it sounded more like Teddy than it did me, but...
Yes, the next question.
Yes, I should like to ask a question regarding the Daily Bath.
Identify yourself, please.
I'm the house nurse.
Right, the nurse. You'll move ahead with your question.
Well, there seems to be some confusion as to the toys to be taken into the bathtub. Now, Caroline's toys are getting mixed up with John's. And I should like to know once and for all whose toys are whose.
Yes, well, the Vice President, the Vice President gave me... and I will make a judgment on that. Now, I was given a list of the toys to be appropriated for child use. We have 18 PT boats, 3 Yogi Bear beach balls, 2 Howdy Doody plastic bouncing clowns, a ball of shilly putty, and a rubber swan. Now, 9 of the PT boats, 2 of the Yogi Bear beach balls, a ball of shilly putty belong to Caroline. 9 of the PT boats, 1 of the Yogi Bear beach balls, and 2 Howdy Doody plastic bouncing clowns are Baby John's. The rubber swan is mine.
That's lovely, really lovely. Vaughn, thanks very much for sharing memories with us tonight.
Well, thank you, Dick. You know, it's always much easier to impersonate the President of the United States than it is to be him. And I miss President Kennedy.
I'm afraid a lot of us do, Vaughn. I was thinking the other day about this night and reminiscing. Not all the memories are pleasant. We missed a lot of people. We lost some of my favorite entertainers in that period.
Well, I love you, gal, yes, I love you, Peggy Sue.
3 stars died February 3rd, 1959.
Peggy Sue, with a love so rare and true. Oh, Peggy, my Peggy Sue. Well, I love.
On the same plane, J.P. Richardson, Big Bopper. They rented a private plane to go from Clear Lake, Iowa to Fargo, North Dakota. It was a snowy morning. They crashed in a cornfield because they wanted to get to the next town early.
There's a live bell, and when you get right, a little dance all night, and they'll dance a little bit to the bop, dance a little bit to the bop, dance a little bit to the bop, well, dance to the rock and roll.
We lost Gene Vincent in 1971. This was one of the first black teenage idols. We lost Frankie Lyman 8 years after this. Just 1 year after this performance, this man was touring in England. He was killed in an automobile crash. This man headlined practically every big rock and roll tour there was back in the late 50s. Clyde McPhatter was 41 when he died of a heart attack. Remember this wonderful man, Sam Cooke?
Send me, I know you. Send me, send me.
What a style. Here's one of the first country crossover artists.
We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they forget to run on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico.
That became the #1 song of 1959.
But when she gets weary, try a little tenderness, yeah.
Otis Redding and Bobby.
Has such teeth, dear, and it shows that pearly white. Just a jackknife has old Maggie, baby, and it keeps it.
We lost him 5 days before Christmas of '73.
And what the chill I got, the lips of life, the volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in
There isn't
love.
a soul in the world who doesn't remember August 16th, 1977. Let me show you a photo from the good old days. You recognize these people? Got any idea who they are? I am sitting here with Paul Revere, Mike Smith, Mark Lindsay, Drake Levin. Watch him blow his ego. What's the guy in the end's name? Phil Vogt, Fang. How long has it been since you guys sat together as Paul Revere and the Raiders?
It's been 1965, 12 years since the five of us have been together.
That's, you know,
Long time.
Mike, what do you do these days? What have you been doing for the last 5-6 years?
I've just tried to catch up for a lot of time that I didn't have when we were so busy. So.
Where'd you go?
Oh, Hawaii, the islands, travel around a lot. Now I'm living up in the remote part of Oregon, up in the woods up there in a place called Brookings.
You know, the amazing thing about it, here you're up in the wilds. You live in Idaho?
I've been investing into some real estate in Idaho.
You have no music connection anymore?
Well, I did for umpteen years, and then I kind of hung it up for a couple of years, and then I got crazy one night and started a band up last week.
What's it called?
It's called Paul Revere and the Raiders.
I need what's to happen there. You're an executive.
After being a musician, a composer, a producer, and an engineer, it was the only logical step I could take.
And the choreography hasn't changed. You still got the hand move. You got a guitar shop?
We sell guitars in Hermosa Beach.
What's the name of the place?
Drake's Music.
Oh. Phil, Fang, you have been the one continuing musician in the group.
I have a band called the Friendship Train. We've been working with Disneyland and Disney World for the last 4.5 years.
You married a lady from where the action is, who, by the way, you have just left a moment ago seated behind you, Tina Mason. Hello, my dear. How are you? How many kids do you have? 2. And there's new news?
We got some good news. We'll announce it on national television. The third one is on the way.
I want to take you back now, because this is what it looked like back in the old days.
This is silly, immature, foolish, and
Look at that, look at that. You believe you ever did anything like that?
I can't believe that.
Drum's real, drummer was fake, though.
Good old days. Hey, it's nice to see that you've matured so gracefully.
It certainly is. I would never do anything like that again. That is
I should tell you now, the Raiders are reunited here tonight for the very first time in 12 years. They have not played together for 12 years, so brace yourselves. Coming up are Paul Revere, our fearless leader, joined by Mike Smitty Smith. Watch out. And Phil Fang Vogt, Drake Levin, and Mark Lindsay. Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Well, I had to leave town because of Uncle Sam's deal. And I guess my good love and done lost its appeal. Tell me the truth, go lie to me. Have you been stepping out on me? Tell the truth, child. I told you once, I told you twice. Stop stepping around the house, I'll put you on ice. Telling you, baby, what I want you to do. 'cause I'm hungry for those good things, baby. Hungry for that good. Hungry for that sweet life, baby. The real fine girl like you. I can almost taste it now, and it's sweet as wine. I ain't gonna waste it, no. Now it's finally mine. I'm gonna live each minute, 20 hours a day, till I've had my fill. Girl, I'll be rolling in a day. Yes, you know I will, yes I will, yes I will. Because I'm hungry for those good things, baby. Hungry for that you. Hungry for that sweet life, baby. The real fine girl like you. Seems this world is what she's done. I'm feeling bad now, this is right. Open your eyes, look at me. Look out, I'll show you how it's got to be. Look at me, such a good thing, baby. Won't be nobody, no one around to bring you down. Such a groovy world, girl. Good, 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 good. Such a good thing, girl. Such a good, good, good thing, baby. Such a good, good thing, baby. Such a 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 good thing, baby.
Gentlemen, let me thank you. This has been a celebration of the good old days that this has made this special. What is, wait a minute, what is it? I hold the microphone.
We're playing a new game. Whoever's the biggest star gets the mic. We've been sitting here for the past hour or so, letting you ramble on about this memory or that hairstyle, who you knew or who knew you, who you didn't know, who knew you but didn't want to know you, and we've just about had enough, right? Okay. Here is Fabian.
You know, when I was a teenager, Dick Clark and I used to walk the streets of Philly, and I used to tell him my troubles, and he told me his. Now he lives in a beautiful house overlooking the ocean late at night when the pressure's off and the day weighs heavy on him. Dick goes down to the water, and he walks on it.
That's good. That was good. Fabian. The only other person I know with one name is Cheetah. Another Philadelphian, D.D. Sharp.
Hey, D.D. You know, Dick doesn't know very much about music. We were talking the other day, and I asked him, you know, who is your favorite black singer? You know, he told me Al Jolson.
Now you're going to get it. Not by one person, by a group. Paul Revere and the Raiders.
A toast to Dick Clark. A toast to Dick Clark. There once was a man who knew rock.
Who started in Philly as a jock.
But now things have changed.
His life's rearranged.
And soon he'll get his real face out of Hawk.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ed McMahon.
Now, Dick's not the kind of person who buys friends. He leases them. Puts a tax write-off.
And I'm going to tell you something right now. It's not that easy to laugh after a 12-hour dinner. Oh, here's Miss Teresa Brewer.
My best friend thinks Dick Clark is sexy and attractive. My best friend is Dick Clark.
Here are some more friends of yours, Dick. Bobby Rydell.
You know, Dick's been doing American Bandstand for so long that if he ever went into a confessional, he would ask the priest his name, age, and what high school he went to.
You don't have to. You could stop now.
As long as we're friends, I beg of you one thing. Take your knee away from mine. Will you, please? For heaven's sake.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Hey, don't give me orders. Don't give me orders. I will introduce him. Bless you.
See something terrible.
The way you look at 74, I don't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, Vaughn Meader.
You know, the only reason Dick Clark isn't president of the United States today is the government doesn't have a network deal.
Here are two people who probably know more about Dick Clark than his parents. As a matter of fact, they are his parents. Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon.
I've known Dick Clark for 20 years, and I think he is the sweetest, most kind person I've ever known. And he's talented, he's generous, and he's loyal. And what?
This is a roast. This is a roast. You don't say nice things at a roast. You say things that are personal. Nasty.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
About Dick?
Of course about Dick.
Frankie, how can you do that after all he's done for us?
Annette, listen to me. It's easy. Here's all you have to say. You have to say this. In the past few years, Dick Clark has helped many people. So has K.O. Pecty.
Isn't it strange how without sand, they don't make it? Okay. So far, most of you have expressed how you feel about Dick. But there is one person we have not heard from.
He was an egomaniac. He stepped on people for the sheer enjoyment of it.
It is with a great deal of disappointment that I introduce the leader of the good old days. If you like his candy bars, that's your privilege, Mr. Dick Clark.
Thank you very, very much. Now, wait a minute. I listened to what all of you people had to say tonight. I listened very carefully. I want you to know one thing. We'll never work together ever again, with the exception of Annette. You were beautiful. You didn't want to say anything bad. Bless you, my dear. True to form. You know, I don't have to tell you how much you all mean to me because I guess otherwise we wouldn't be here. You folks made the good old days what they are and shared memories with us tonight. I would like to propose a toast to you, if I may, because they were good days. They say good times won't be round again. They were fun in many ways, but one thing for sure, my friends, we shared some happy days.
The New Year's Eve, we did the town. The day we
Saturday night's full of surprises with the late night special All Kinds of Stuff. Rock with superstar Debbie Harry. Crash an all-night party in Beverly Hills. Laugh with the wacky comedy of Jimmy Walker and more. All Kinds of Stuff, Saturday. Right after the news, don't miss Johnny Mathis on The Best of Carson, followed by The Tomorrow Show as Tom welcomes Stevie Wonder, tonight on NBC.